afternoon. We're here for the very exciting unveil of Baby Dove. Baby Dove is taking its first big steps into India. So I think everyone here knows that Dove is iconic. It's got 60 years of heritage. It's a brand that's all about real women, real beauty. And what's really exciting is that Baby Dove is going to be talking about new things for new mothers, and it also has a very strong emphasis on being real. So before I tell you what's in store, you've already been through that fun maze. So before we call on our wonderful guests who are all seated here, I'd also like to just tell you a little bit about the context in which I'm here. So my name is Sharma Saluja. I'm an actress, former actress. Hopefully we'll do acting again, but I'm an actress, an entrepreneur, and I'm a devoted mom of our two little kids, Zen and Kai. And I also started a show 6 years ago called the Tara Sharma Show, which is essentially a platform to discuss family, parenting, women's and children's issues with a view to bringing about positive change. And 6 years ago, just after our first son was born, I honestly felt no one gets more advice than a pregnant woman and a new mom. Everywhere I went, someone had something to say. I remember, I was, touch wood, fortunate to be, walking and exercising just till I delivered. And I remember, at 9 months pregnant, I'd have women on the street saying, "Arey beta, what are you doing? You should not be doing this. Why are you walking? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?" And I realized that you have to decide very early on who you're going to trust. In fact, my prenatal classes, which were conducted in Dr. Sunawala's clinic, I was so grateful for that because they always said, choose a few people that you'll trust. Everyone else, be polite, listen, don't be rude, but take it in one ear, out the other, and decide who you're going to trust. Perhaps your mom, a close friend, perhaps your doctor. And other than that, trust yourself. And I'm so excited that Baby Dove, when they approached me to be part of this event, I felt that they were saying exactly what I've been saying for 7 years, They were talking about the fact that we as parents, as moms and dads, should trust ourselves more. We should throw away all this anxiety that people create around parenthood, and we should stop aspiring to be a perfect mom, because at the end of the day, in many ways, there is no such thing as perfect. We're all real moms, and I'd like to go a step further and say every real mom is a perfect mom to their own child. I don't usually quote Hollywood celebrities, but there's a line that I actually read by Gwyneth Paltrow, which I think makes a lot of sense. She said way back, I think when she was separating from Chris Martin, I think she said something along the lines of, never judge another parent because everyone's situation is different. And I think that's so important. What works for me may not work for you, but the point is to share and grow together. So on that note, thank you, Baby Dove, for having me here. And this is also going to be on the Tara Sharma Show YouTube channel with Baby Dove. So every time we have a wonderful live audience, I'm also happy that it goes beyond the room and it'll reach out to everyone who watches. So we'd like to now invite the Vice President of Skincare, Hindustan Unilever, Prabha Narasimhan, to tell us a little bit more about Baby Dove.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Tara, for what a lovely introduction, and I couldn't have put it better myself, and maybe I should just get off the stage immediately. This is a really big moment for us at Hindustan Lever. This is our first foray into the baby care category, and we enter with a brand that obviously means a lot to us and a lot to consumers. Dove, like Tara has said, is an iconic brand, and to come in with Baby Dove as an introduction, this is the first market that we're going to bring in Baby Dove after our launch in Brazil, which was last year. It's been a very successful launch, and India is one of the very early countries outside Latin America to get this set of products. The Baby Dove range of products are quite special because they have been formulated specially for the 0 to 2-year-old children. They are tested and clinically proven, but more important than the products is that they actually come with a very definitive point of view. As we've already discussed, having a baby is a really joyous moment, and I'm sure to all the mums and dads in the room, it would have been a real life-changing moment for each of you. But along with that life-changing moment, of course, comes the pressure of, am I doing it right? Am I treating my baby the best way possible? Am I giving the best care possible? And it does come with the pressure. So there is the joy, and there is, of course, the pressure. And what Baby Dove would really, really like to do is to be the voice of encouragement, to tell mums that whichever way you choose to do it, your way is the right way. There isn't any such thing called a perfect mum. There isn't any such thing called the absolute right way to do it, because if there was, somebody would have discovered it and shared it by now, but there isn't. And whichever way you do it is the right way to do it. But before I tell you a little bit more about the brand's philosophy and point of view, let's hear a little bit from real mothers on their point of view. Can I have the AV, please? It's the joy, the happiness, the tears of holding your baby for the very first time. Also comes the stress, the pressure, the advice. And what we would really like to do is to be the voice of encouragement to mums, like the lady who said that, can we just tell mums that don't worry, you're actually doing a good job. And to help mums to do a good job, the range of Baby Dove products has been formulated specifically for delicate baby skin. I'm sure most of you who have been parents in the room will know that baby skin is little less mature than adult skin. It also loses moisture up to 5 times faster, and therefore you need products that have been formulated to ensure that we restore the balance and moisturization to that skin so that babies can remain fit, healthy, and happy. And what we'd really like to do is to take that little part of the worry away from mothers so that they can get on with their main task of motherhood, of enjoying their babies, watching them grow, and living a happy and healthy life. And with that, I'd like to just end with the Baby Dove video.
Here, raise your hand. Yeah, so I think a big majority are parents, and clearly if you're here, you're somehow connected to kids. So I think all of us will resonate with what we've seen, that no perfect moms, real moms. Now we'd like to invite a very special guest who's a wonderful actress, a fabulous wife, a fantastic mom to her 2 gorgeous little boys, a dear friend. We've acted together a long time ago, way before we were married or had kids. So it's really a pleasure to have with us Genelia D'Souza. Please come, Jeans as I call her, say a few words.
So yeah, thank you Tara so much, and thank you so much for inviting me here. Like Tara said, we are mums today, but we've gone through the entire circle till now, I think, in our initial days. And firstly, I would like to congratulate Baby Dove for having this wonderful line that they are launching today. And I'm glad that they saw me as a mum to come here and be part of their event. Because yes, there is loads of anxieties, and all of us at some point in time get into this whole circle of, being extremely anxious and getting into zones of, am I doing the right thing or am I doing the wrong thing? And you need people who come out there and say that, no, we're with you, we hear you, we understand you, and we will do our best to make this ride much easier, because it's not the easiest in the world. I'm sure Tara agrees with me, and I'm sure you agree with me, and a lot of mums here do. As much as it's glamorous, the kids are always the cutest and no one bothers about the mom 90% of the time. But I think as a new mom, you need a lot of assurance. I've seen the difference between my first son and my second son as a mom. I've seen my difference, I've seen my growth, I've seen that I have felt a lot more comfortable the second time around rather than the first time, because you just figure out there's no point in just being anxious. And yes, thank you, Baby Dove, for coming out with a new line of products that you can trust. 90% of the times you're in a zone where you don't know whether you could trust or whether you can't trust. And one of my first questions to Baby Dove when I met them prior to this was, are you sure there's no, unnecessary chemicals and stuff used in it? And they were like, yeah, we're sure. We'll show you statistics. So I think that's incredible that someone's taking the trouble to come into the market. And all of us love being Indian, all of us love using products available here. We just want it the right way. So lots of moms are going to have this assurance that this is going to be a good brand, and this is the brand that could probably be the future. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Jeans. And now, without much ado, we're going to unveil the product. So Baby Dove is going to take big steps into India through this wonderful window.
Come, come.
So that was clearly.
This is the first for me.
So that was clearly an easier birthing process than I think any of us
Yes.
have been through. The stock arrived with the babies. So this is the amazing Baby Dove. Really looking forward to trying it.
Yeah.
Jeans can try it because she has a baby. I'll have to have another one in order to use it on the baby. I think we're sorted. But so now, thank you so much, Prabha. Thank you. And Jeans, we'd love you to yes, with the stock. Oh, इसके साथ? हाँ? With them?
कहाँ सेंटर है?
And now we're going to have a little panel discussion where we're going to call some other wonderful guests on. Where would you be comfortable? Here? I don't know what to pay. Any specific seating? And so one of the things that Baby Dove has also done is that they've conducted a global survey in 6 countries, the UK, the US, India, Brazil, China, and Mexico. And the survey is called Real Mums Heard, Real Mothers Heard. And when I was reading some of the statistics from the survey, again, I felt really reassured because having done my show for 6 years, I have a lot of parents who come on the show. In fact, some of them are sitting here. So people who've been on the show are here, and they'll continue to come because we have celebrity and non-celebrity guests. And a lot of what I read in the survey is reiterated by what I hear from these real mothers. And one of the startling things, which I think is a global phenomena, is 9 out of 10 mothers are actually extremely stressed to become a perfect mom. Now, the whole fact that perfect itself is a subjective word, and what is perfect, the fact that this is something that causes so much anxiety is really startling. A few really strange or interesting statistics that came out of this was that one I found particularly funny is that 66% of times a mother and a mother-in-law's advice will be different. So it's quite interesting because for any daughters who are also daughter-in-laws, if your mom is saying one thing and your mother-in-law is saying something else, you're kind of stuck in the middle in a often sticky situations. So I think that's quite a revealing statistic. Another thing which is very interesting is India actually has the highest number of women, 57% of women, 54% of women who actually want to go back to work, which I thought was really interesting. But India also has the highest number of women, 67% of women who go back to work and feel guilty about it. So all these things I thought were really interesting, and again, because I do this on the show all the time, it was really nice to see numbers that validate so much of what we actually hear in real life. So to talk more about this, we'd like to invite renowned and wonderful clinical psychologist, Varkha Chelani, to please come on stage. Thank you, Varkha.
Thank you.
And we'd love you to say a few words.
Sure. Thank you, Tara, for having me here. And thank you, Hindustan Lever and Baby Dove, to make me a part of yet another Dove occasion. I've been associated with Dove for the Choose Beautiful campaign and also a Real Beauty campaign. And what resonated with me when I was looking through the Real Mums Heard campaign, or rather study that they did across 6 countries, was something quite actually upsetting. Upsetting because as a professional therapist, I expect motherhood to be joyous, to be something which someone would celebrate. But instead, the statistics threw up tension, anxiety, mistrust, self-doubt, and instead of enjoying motherhood, I feel a lot of Indian mums particularly, in fact, as Tara said, 9 out of 10 are struggling to be perfect mums. And the minute you struggle to be a perfect mother, it creates a lot of anxiety, a lot of self-doubt, and a lot of tension. So Dove's point of view, besides its wonderful range of products, in fact, when I was looking at the range of product, I looked at my husband and said, can we have another child? He just looked at me wondering like if I had my senses in order. No, besides its wonderful replenishing products, I think Dove's idea of replenishing attitude and outlook has been wonderful. Right from its idea that beauty should be a source of confidence, to parenting should be a source of confidence rather than anxiety. And parenting is something to be enjoyed rather than constantly be worried about whether you're doing the right thing. I think I resonate with Dove and its point of view that let's all try and be real, relaxed mums rather than perfect, fraught with tension mums. So I look forward to being a part with Baby Dove. Thank you again, Hindustan Lever, and thank you, Tara, for the wonderful introduction.
Thank you, Varkha. Love you to sit on the panel as well. And now we'd like to invite a renowned pediatrician who's the former president of the Indian Pediatrics Association of Mumbai. We'd love to have Dr. Uday Pai to please come and say a few words.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Hindustan Lever. You know, I've been a pediatrician for 28 years. And it probably makes me feel old because children who are born and who grew up with me are now come back as moms. So it becomes, I'm seeing the second generation of them. And I'm also seeing with this second generation, I'm also seeing the changing way that the mom has been what they were 28 years back and what they are today. You know, we as pediatricians are always at a disadvantage. You know, what the disadvantage is one, the child never complains. So we always have 2 sets of grandparents, maternal and the paternal, and the mother, and there are a lot of other people who keep complaining. So it becomes very tough. So we realize that the anxiety is not single. There are multiple issues to that anxiety. And it's not easy because, you know, when we met at Dove, the first thing which came to mind is, oh, Dove is in cosmetology. What are they doing in baby products? So like Genelia said, the first question and the first meeting I had with Hindustan Lever was with their research team. And when I spoke to the research team, I probably asked them, tell me each and every constituent of the product. And when I went to each and every constituent, I said, do you still want to call it Baby Dove? Because all the constituents are the baby, but Dove is related to cosmetology. But after going through everything that they had in the product, I think they've taken extreme care to see that this product is absolutely for the baby and is going to be a good advantage because there is a 60-year-old heritage which is coming to all of us. I'll be glad to join the discussion. We'll see what questions we can address, how we can make the mothers more comfortable with the constituents and composition of the product, and we'll take this forward. Thank you very much once again. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Hindustan.
Thank you, thank you. So now we're going to do what I like doing best, which is moderating a little discussion like we have on the show. And this is also going to feature as a Tara Sharma Show Baby Dove special. I think everyone here has said...
feature on your show, finally.
See? And guess who my last guest was? Her husband. So we've heard his point of view. So now I'm going to see if what he says matches what you said. But he was very complimentary of you. So you have to return that. But basically, I think everyone's thrown up some really interesting points. The global survey has statistics that are really interesting, and we're going to discuss that a bit more. We're also going to then open it up to all of you. So if you have any burning questions, as I said, some people here have been on the show. I can see one right there, Ruchi, of First Moms Club. So we've got lots of, I know, mommy communities and people who are experts in the field. Another thing I always say when I host my show is, I'm no expert. I'm a regular mom. I'm learning all the time. I make millions of mistakes. I question myself all the time. My kids are now 5 and 7. Just last night I was almost in tears because I did something that I think was wrong. And my husband had to say, relax. And now that my kids are older, they say, Mama, chill. So I think, you know, this anxiety kind of does go with you. So I think we'll start with this anxiety question. So Jeans, starting with you, when you were pregnant and perhaps soon after you had your first son, did you have anxiety? Did you feel people would stress you, sometimes almost intentionally, you know, people coming to say, are you ready? Are you prepared?
Yeah.
Did that happen?
You know, Tara, even if they didn't do it intentionally, by a certain conversation in the room, I would get stressed. Certain things that, am I doing it the right way?
Yeah.
There's certain things, see, as in life, I think whether you're a woman or whether you're an individual or whether you're a human being, you all come with a certain set of qualities. And being a mom is no different. You come with another set of qualities, and which may not be the same as you, or you may not be the same as me. But when you're in that room and everyone's discussing about certain things, you're like, am I doing the right thing? Because maybe I'm not doing what that mom is doing, you know? Yeah. And that questioning yourself, which I think is also important in a certain way. I think it's nice to question yourself once in a while. I just think it's not nice to lose confidence in yourself. And I think the first 2 months go in with a lot of things. I mean, be it breastfeeding or be it, you know, choosing the right kind of products. Everything makes a difference to a new mom, and also the fact that she's gone through so much, and you know. But I think after that, what I realized is my child can only be happy if I'm a happy mom.
Absolutely. I think
so, so that's one of the things where I decided that, everyone's trying to help out. And no one means bad. Probably I'm taking it in the wrong way, or, you know, someone else is. But I need to filter just like I would do in life.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, you get a zillion opinions even when you're an actor or even when you're not.
Yeah.
But eventually, you have to do what works for you. And you will go wrong. It's not like you won't go wrong. There'll be days that you will do the wrong thing, but you'll correct yourself, and so what? That's what happens with being a mom as well.
Yeah.
You don't intentionally set out to do anything. I mean, I'm sorry, you all have loads of experience, I'm sure, but from my little 2.5 years, this is what I feel, and you know, I like feeling that way. I like feeling a sense of, you know.
So may I come in here?
Yes.
As a professional therapist, we find that there is no right way or wrong way, and in fact, I think that's a great positioning of Baby Dove, because it's just trying to tell you it's your way. Trust your gut, trust your instinct, go with the flow. And now, when I look back, I have a 16-year-old daughter. Okay, sure, I made a hell of a lot of mistakes, but none for the worse. Yeah. And it's parenting is just trial and error. Okay, and the errors are not something which are indelible, which will permanently scar your children, or, you know, be something where you will hold yourself responsible for the rest of your life. So one caveat which I tell all my parents, I said, you know what, we mothers are very grandiose. We think we are totally responsible for our children. We are not. And I think if you can go home with that message today, that we are not totally responsible for our children, all the anxiety will vanish.
Yeah. But I think, as Genelia said, and as you've also said, nobody means ill, right? When they're giving that advice, most people mean well. So, you know, whether it's somebody coming up to you, a complete stranger saying, oh my God, what are you doing? Or whether it's your mother-in-law or your mom, people mean well. So, coming to you, doctor, do you find that because of this information overload, do you find that we're actually in a generation of more anxious parents, or do you think, and you as a doctor, your role, I'm sure you get messages or calls at 12 at night saying things like, you know, my baby, I don't know, my baby is not crying the way he usually cries or something like that. Sometimes perhaps not as, probably calls that don't warrant a middle of the night call. How do you handle that, and what's your take on this whole anxiety?
See, it's very interesting. You know, like both of you are mom twice, okay? And the anxiety level with the first child, maybe 100%, you know, but then I always tell parents, wait for your second child. Say, oh, I don't want to go in for that. And suddenly after 2 or 3 years, we'll say, oh, I'm you know, second one. And that's the time I tell them, now you're 50% pediatrician because you've gone through one. So in the second, you know what you're going to get into. And we always believe that all mothers have instincts, definite instincts. And those instincts are what we tell them, believe them. Yeah. And we also believe them. Like I told you, the child doesn't complain. It's the mother who tells me, you know. Yeah. So if the mother knows that today my child is lying down a lot, she'll say, oh, he's unwell today. Yeah. He's not active, he's not running around. And I mean, even if I check him up completely and I say nothing is wrong, she would say, no, doc, something is there. And check on thermometer, there'll be a small fever or something of that sort. So you realize that's what instincts are. But the best part of the, key word, you have real, perfect mom. There are no, all this don't fit into it. Real is a reality check. Yeah. Every day is another day. The child is not the same at 8 a.m. in the morning or 8 p.m. in the evening. It's that kind of a reality check. And perfection is what you believe. Yes. You do something in a particular order, you do something for the child, what do you think is best? And that is perfect. Yeah? Otherwise, everybody would have been a doctor, everybody would have been an actor. That's something you allow the child to nurture on his own. So it's basically the child's way and the mother's way of nurturing the child, which ultimately matters.
Absolutely. I think, again, it's a subjective term. It's much like what is perfection, what is success. It varies for each person. And I think for us in the whole entertainment field, you get asked it a lot, you're now a mother, your counterparts are number one. But you're like, but what is success to you? It may mean something different. It may mean being a mom as well as, other stuff.
Precisely.
There's no such thing as standard operating procedure. There's no SOP.
Yes.
You just allow the flow.
Yeah, coming back to what all of you have said about, filtering the information and stuff, at the risk of being a little controversial, considering I have a show in the parenting space, do you feel that there's a bit of an information overload when it comes to communities, blogs, shows, research, Google? Do you think as a new mom, do you actually look at all that, or do you decide that you're only going to listen to your mom and maybe yourself? Or do you have some trusted things that you refer to, like maybe books or?
Tara, I think information is there because we look at it. So it's only there because there is a certain section that needs it. And I think, why not? I mean, today, I have help. I mean, I have my mom, I have my mother-in-law both there. But there are so many families that just have a mom, dad, and their child. And they do depend and they do need a little bit of advice here and there. It's how much you filter, how much you don't. Absolutely. I think even when you're in school, you have a whole lot of things when you're appearing for your main exams, like your SSC or your whatever, Yeah. And at that point in time also, there's like, do this test, do that test, but you do what you feel is going to help you. Absolutely. So in the same way, there will be loads of information, there will be a lot of things, and why not? Like, I read a lot, I read everything. I don't take everything that's there, and like Dr. Pai said, that it's very important to have your own instinct work for you. Absolutely. And that can only happen if you're confident and if you're happy. Absolutely. So if you somehow, like I remember telling someone, now I'm 4 months and I think I need to have a little bit of recreation. May not be like to go and sit in the park and chill, but just maybe, you know, exercise or do something for yourself. Everyone was like, no, you're still feeding, are you crazy? You know, this will go down, that will go down and all. I was like, no, nothing goes down, you know. It's just you feeling a lot more energized to look after your child the rest of the day. And the child is sleeping, the child is taken care of. And a lot of people will say a lot of things, and I don't think they mean bad. They mean well for your child.
Absolutely.
But maybe that's not what you want, you know, at the end of the
And I
day.
think what you touch upon is so important about having time for yourself. And I think that's where,
I mean, that's the only time you'll probably get. I don't think you can ever get, once you're a mom, I don't think you can ever get the entire day. And you don't think you want it as
you
well.
don't want it. Believe me, once they start, now my kids are in school till 1 and 3. I'm very grateful that I have my show, so I'm busy. But now when both are coming home at 3, I will wonder what to do, you know, I mean, apart from work. But you made a very valid point about your mom and your mother-in-law both being very close. I know that your home is a little like a nursery school with 6 kids and, you know, 3 sets of families with your mother-in-law, which is great. I know you guys get on very well and she gives you good advice as well. But coming to one of the statistics from the survey, which said that 66% of people, of real Indian moms said that their mother-in-law and their mother's views are often conflicting. I'd like to come to you as a clinical psychologist. When you have this kind of contradictory advice, apart from confusing people, can it also breed fear? Or how would that work
But what I think the mother at that point, the new mom has to do is sift the advice and decide that to take some from the mom and apply it where it's relevant to the child, and to take some from the mother-in-law and apply it, because both come from points of view which may be different. And I think the biggest lesson to learn in my parenting was that every child is unique. So I'm a twin, and I realized that my mom used different strategies, if I may use that word, for each of us, even though we were twins. I preferred sleeping longer. My sister was slightly more hyper. So there is no right thing. There is a thing which you have to see fits uniquely to every child that is in front of you. And of course, the parents, both the mother-in-law and the mother, may have points of view. It is as a discerning daughter-in-law and a daughter that you do not put one against the other, and that you take bits of advice from both and put it forward when it works for your child.
It also might be influenced by who you're more frightened of. I'm just joking. I'm just joking, but that's a, you know, in an Indian context, we have more, most often there's more family involvement, right? I happen to be half Indian and half English, and I see the difference because my mom is English, and I see that it's a little different. You know, my mom is, although of course she's been here 45 years, so she's quite Indianized, but I see my cousins in the UK, they kind of, it's more nuclear when it comes to the way they bring up. They may not have as much involvement, and again, it's each to their own. You take what you want from either.
I think even the Dove data showed that I think Chinese are the most dependent on family advice, followed by Indians and so on.
Yes, I think this is what's so interesting about that global survey, that you see the differences. Now talking about, as a doctor, the concerns that people come to you with, I'm sure you have the usual, like Genelia mentioned, about breastfeeding, when do you stop, when do you know, give solids, when do, all those things that we've all asked, and I'm embarrassed to admit that I am one of those mothers who's messaged my doctor. Dr. Balsekar has had messages from me saying, do I do this or do I do that? But I think I've also learned to be a little chilled. But what are the main concerns that new mothers come to you with?
See, just like I said right at the beginning, you know, and what Genelia probably said, she's lucky that, you know, still following the culture of a traditional joint family. But that's changing dramatically today. And not only dramatically, you know, there was a time when we used to, like I said, we used to have 2 sets of grandparents. Now with nuclear families, we don't see that kind of, you know, both a set of grandparents. And then people change their jobs very often, change scenarios very often. That's another additional thing. Now the other things which are adding is intercaste marriages which are taking place. So there's, you know, a conflict between the 2 grandmothers. You know, the one would say one and the other would say the other. So with all this, the scenario with taking care of a child is you have to evaluate what the myths are, traditions are, facts are, changing times that take place. And of course, you also have blogs and Google to, you know,
confuse you
to
further.
confuse you further and add to the complication. But like, what Tara said, you do face, I mean, you have Dr. Varka who herself said that she was a little who slept more and the other was hyper. So that's why my child doesn't sleep would be the commonest thing. But it's the way to understand my child doesn't eat is the most commonest thing. And when you take, and you probably go to a little detail of trying to understand what the child eats, I said, boss, I don't eat that much. It's that kind of a situation. But he basically is like a current account. Whatever he eats, he basically runs off weighs it off. So it's each, and these are common things which you keep facing. So at the end of the day, I think a little amount of talking to, counseling definitely helps parents, and I think it's basically trying to say, allow the child his space. Like you need your space, the child needs his space, and he does everything. It's not much that.
Do skincare issues come up? Do
Oh,
people
I mean,
have people
you can imagine, the traditional way would say, you apply this oil is good, that oil is good. You will have somebody will say, okay, add something and probably muscles will become better, and add something else, the brain becomes better. So it's unending. At the end of the day, from our side, I mean, we basically say that oil does nothing. It's your massage, it's the touch, it's the bonding which comes from what you do for the baby. I think that's what makes all the difference. And believe me, I'll probably be happy to share with you now, there are fathers who like to do it more.
Absolutely,
Yes.
I
And
figured
just
that
like maternity, we probably say now they require paternity leave in the future. Right. That would probably be another thing which will come up. And I have a lot of parents who now, especially the nuclear family ones, where the grandparents are not there. The mother would do the morning one, and the night massage would be given by the father. And that touch therapy is what is important. So we say it doesn't matter which or what. Whatever is good for your baby's skin. So baby's skin is very, very tender, very sensitive, and it's totally different from an adult skin. Because it requires a lot of moisture, requires, a lot of fluid loss as well as fat loss takes from the skin. So we just say be careful of what you apply, and be careful of how hard you apply. You should not be overzealous in doing anything, and when you are overzealous, you're going to damage the skin. And that damaging of the skin is going to give more problems with infections and other things. So I think, that is why I said, when I spoke to them, I said, please tell me what the composition. The safety of what you apply is more important than actually saying, oh, there are different things in the market, can I do this, that, and mix and match. And the last thing we always tell parents is, when you do something for your skin, don't change because somebody else is telling you. The information of changing, because every change is a new set of either fatty acids or chemicals which could be, harmful or maybe harsh on the baby's skin and give trouble.
So thank you. That was, interesting to know the kind of concerns that parents have. Now moving away from the baby, I think, as Ruchi said when we walked in, it's interesting that, the conversation is about the real mums. Now, of course, everyone compliments the baby, but the reality is it's the parents who are, whose life
Once
perhaps
you deliver,
changed.
no one asks you how you're doing also.
What are the kids doing?
What are the kids
How's
doing?
the child? Like, mommy, I exist.
So now going back to that you exist, when you starting your next film?
Yes.
No, do you, because as I said, the statistic that comes out of the Baby Dove Global Survey actually says that India has the highest percentage, 54% of women who want to go back to work, which I found quite interesting. Because having done this show, as I said, for 4 seasons, we have a lot of working women coming on the show, mothers going back to work, mompreneurs who've started their own enterprises, being a mother and an entrepreneur. So what's your view on going back to work?
I don't think I ever left work, Tara.
Yeah.
This is work at the end of the day. I have a 4-month son. I'm here at an event.
Absolutely.
I was there at an event for my first time around after 3 months. I don't think you don't work, and I think as a mom, you do something or the other, which is a lot of work. It may not be acting. It may not be, certain things. I have a production house.
Yeah.
I've just produced a song. On my way to producing 2 films. You are producing your show, acting in a show. So I think we all work. Maybe the nature is a bit different.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be grateful to do a film today also. And the thing is, it's no more that you can't do it, like both of us do. We take our children everywhere. Like, you know, I don't think my son is, you know, particular, and I don't stop him from running around and having fun. I was shooting on Sunday. He was there on sets the entire, both my children. So every time I needed to feed, I would do that. You just and I think women in general can multitask so well that you never really, you know, have a problem. And on a day that you need to do a little more work, I'm grateful that my husband understands that it's our child together.
Yes.
And he's there. Like this morning, I had to be at home and I couldn't drop my son to school. He did it.
Yeah.
He does it every morning. He wakes up early, though he has worked the rest of the day, because he does understand that I wake up in the middle of the night as well.
Yeah.
And I think once you have that kind of thing going, and you know,
Yeah.
you can do anything at any point in time. Yeah, sure, maybe it's a bit restrictive and you can't go out on a Wednesday or a Friday, but so what?
Yeah,
I
and
mean, I
sometimes
don't
you-
think that's
you
a bad
stop
thing.
even wanting to,
Yeah,
actually.
you stop
feel
wanting
like-
to. You'll
yeah.
still enjoy a Saturday better. You'll enjoy Monday probably better when you go out. It's just about being content, I think, at the end of the day. And yeah, honestly, like if a product like Baby Dove teaches you that you can be rest assured that this baby wipe is a good baby wipe and this soap is a good soap, then mentally you're so much more at peace. So I think it's important to gather the right kind of information. Like when we're talking about mums and mother-in-laws, honestly, I never had an issue with either my mum or my mother-in-law. I think because they both came from a zone where they understood that you are the mum, we'll do what you tell us to, you know, and my mom and mother-in-law get along much better. So, you know, I didn't have that issue, but yet there were things that I wanted to do my way,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like not advised or stopped or restricted. But what I did is I take my mom, I take my mother-in-law where I go. If I need them to hear something from a doctor,
Yeah.
like from my pediatrician, I'll take them there. And I'll explain to them, I'll talk to them. I think as much as we are evolving as moms, they are evolving as grandmoms. It's their first time too, you know?
Yeah.
So, so though this entire process looks all complex and, you know, crazy, and you can't work and you can't do this and you're doing the wrong thing and it's really simple. It's just up to you to make it that simple.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point, that having a positive attitude goes a long way. A lot of people always tell me that, you know, like it's, like I am someone who I like to always look at the bright side, and I think that does solve a lot, I definitely think. Having said that, at the risk of being a little controversial, and after all this is a debate, we are also in a position of privilege where we have the opportunity to say take our kids on a set, produce our own stuff. I'm always grateful for advice my father gave me shortly before he passed away. He always said, you know, don't wait for the phone to ring with an offer. If you want to do something that doesn't exist, create it. And that's when I created my show, because I felt, you know, let's face it, I'm not some big star. I'm not going to get a big film role and someone calling. So I make my own stuff. And today, I'm grateful to Baby Dove for acknowledging that we as mothers who are working, actually people are also watching that. But there are lots of people who don't have the infrastructure of help. Again, my mother's also with the kids now while we're here, or she's there, there's infrastructure, there's support. What happens to women who may not have that and who want to go back to work? Perhaps they have to leave the child at a creche, or they have to leave a child somewhere where the global study also reveals that India has the highest percentage of women who feel guilty. 67% of women feel guilty. People like us, fortunately, touch wood, don't. Perhaps
But I
because
feel
we have-
guilty as well.
You do?
Like right now when I'm here and my child is at home, I feel guilty, but I feel that's an emotion and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you know,
So I guess as a professional therapist, I think mums have to first realize that they are individuals and people first before they take multiple roles, before they become daughters, sisters, wives, daughter-in-laws and mums. And I think if I underscore that, and I think Dove's point of view is exactly that in some of the studies, they found that a lot of mums are feeling extremely guilty about the fact that they are even asking for me time.
Yeah.
But as Genelia somewhere in the past mentioned, that if you're not a happy person, you definitely cannot be a happy mom.
Yeah.
Okay, happy parenting, joyful parenting, confident parenting comes from basically being confident and self-assured and self-trusting of your intrinsic, worth and your intrinsic philosophy of what you want to be as a person.
Yeah.
And I think once that is in place, yes, it's always a tug of war that, what should my priority be at this point? So I would say as a working mom, my daughter just finished her grade 10 examinations and ICSE, and she was Bombay Scottish, and I told her, just tell me what is your schedule for your ICSE examinations because I want to take leave. She looked at me and she said, Mom, what do my studies have to do with your career? Please go, do your work and travel wherever you have to for whatever events or whatever other seminars that you have to attend. Why? Because I think the general trust that, you know what, you do your work, I'll do my work, and I think the child needs to recognize the mother as an entity in her own right.
Yes.
I agree with you totally. In fact, I think you've really brought up your daughter well if she gives you that kind of advice, because that's what, like right now, we're bringing up Rian because he's at an age of, evolvement and changing. I realize that it's most important to give him the strength that he's an independent person, more than making him constant. He is dependent upon me by default, but he does things which amazes me and which I feel parenting is a learning process every single day, and it's just the most beautiful thing to learn from your children. Like little things, like when I see him struggling to say a word correctly because he's learning to say, I've forgotten that, I've forgotten all of this. And I think that's what's important. And I let him have his space. Like I don't have too many toys and stuff like that because I don't believe in that kind of childhood. And I like him to run, I like him to play. So I teach him football and stuff like that. But I don't think it's wrong for someone else who believes that they need a lot of toys because that's probably the way they were brought up and they're doing fine in life as well.
Yeah.
And so,
I guess that was the baby Dove message that there's no right.
Interact. And I think as a closing note, I'd like to say that we all, what's interesting is we all have our own ways, it's each to their own, but that's one thing we all agree about, which I think Baby Dove validates through their survey, that there's no right or wrong way, you have to do what works for you. I think what's also really wonderful is their whole concept of real moms, that we're all real and, let's stop aspiring and pressurizing each other to be perfect. And I think the most important thing is that we're all smiling and enjoying it, and I think different things make different people happy. So honestly, someone like me will always probably have a little bit of guilt, and that's perhaps just something I enjoy subconsciously, perhaps. So I think you have to find
reality check.
it's a reality check.
It's a reality
You have to do
check.
what
It's
works for
fine.
you.
It's an emotion.
Yeah, and I think one thing which I would like to say, and Genelia, you touched upon it, and I think all of us have in our own ways touched upon it, that let's not forget the dad, because we talk a lot about the mom, and I'm so glad that it's her husband who was on my episode on the first year of a baby, although of course I would have loved to have both of them, but it's so nice because I feel now, and my dad was very involved in our upbringing, but dads have a different role, perhaps not the same role as a mother, but equally important. And I think even when we talk about wanting to work or being mompreneurs or entrepreneurs or whatever, they play such a big part in the support. And all of us play the part of supporting each other. So thank you all very much for being here. If we didn't have you to perform in front of, we wouldn't have had this wonderful event.
Yes, true.
So thank you. And now if there are any questions for any of us, please feel free.
Yeah.
Hi. I want to ask you which market you are targeting, high or middle, and where
So
you
Sorry,
are,
we
Can
can't
you
hear you.
speak a little louder?
And we have
which market you are targeting, high class or middle class, or where we are positioning yourself.
I think this
I
is a
think
question
Prabha
for
would be the
Prabha.
best person to answer this.
I'll take that. As a doctor, I think, probably I'll take that and Prabha will probably, add to it. When it comes to a baby, there is no such thing as class. And in 28 years, I can tell you very simply that there was a time when we used to have, parents who would say probably look at 2 children, and nowadays it's 1 child, and, they would like to do the best for the child. And the reason for that also is We discussed in the last maybe 15-20 minutes as to how the working woman has now changed. And now, if people previously would get married in the age of 21 to 25, now with the career in mind, they get married a little at 28 to 30, 32. So we have mothers who become first-time mothers at 30, 31 and say one child that's what I'm going to be able to pay attention to. And that's the time they also realize, working women probably realize what 24/7 means. Yeah, because juggling between work as well as home is not easy, especially when there's an additional baby at home, because that's the time 24/7 really means 24/7. And then also, the same mother when she starts work is also a remote control mother. She's remote controlling the home. So there's something which always is coming to the attention. So for the child today, the mother would like to give the best. So there's no class. So if something is suited for the child, we have probably felt that for this child something is good. So then they don't, actually ask, oh, is it so expensive or not expensive? And the next example I give is, the mothers here will probably agree, and some others in the audience will agree. There's something to prevent pneumonia today as a vaccine, and that vaccine costs 4,000 rupees. So initially when the vaccine came in, we started saying, do I give it for only the class which can afford it? But then I realized with time, mother said, no, I want my child protected. And you realize then that's the time you start understanding for the child, it is necessary and they will do it. So I don't think class actually matters. If it's good for the child, mothers or parents both together will see that the child receives it. So I think that would probably answer the question. Prabha, you would like to add anything here?
No, I was just...
But it is touch therapy, emotive bonding therapy.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes?
My question is to Genelia.
Yes.
I'm here. Yeah, so Genelia, you had two babies within a gap of like 2.5 years. So
And that's how I grew up with my brother as well. But when I discuss it outside, a lot of people say no. I think I'd like to wait, at least 4 to 5 years before I can do it again. And I think that's fair enough. So when people say, what do you feel, it's better? I always say it depends on the mom. It depends on what she feels like, because I think I always wanted it, though it was a bit quick. And right now I feel it's a lot of hard work, but I feel it's going to pay off because they'll be company for each other and I'll be a little more freer because I won't feel as guilty. Talking about, guilt thing, I think they'll be there for each other. But a lot of mums, I know my friends, they keep saying, you're really brave, yeah, to have done this and, stuff.
I think that goes baby dove's positioning, right? Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
So
Again,
there are no hard and fast rules.
I would say each to their own, but as a mom of 2 boys who are less than 2 years apart, and Jeans is in the same boat, they're great company to each other. They're also great boxing companions. So be prepared for that, but I think...
So again, I don't think there's an exact age, but yeah, it's great that I enjoy it. I enjoy this gap.
If I take that a little further, we usually look at mothers or parents in 4 factors. Purely housewife, working from home, and of course entrepreneurs. And each will have their different...
Excuse me. Look center. मैडम आपका हो गया? मंगिया तरफ फ्लैश यार, एक सेकंड ना. Excuse me. एक सेकंड. हो गया? एक सेकंड. Wait. एक सेकंड. मंगिया दोनों को ही छोड़ो. एक सेकंड, 1 सेकंड. कौन है 1 सेकंड? Thank you. मैडम तारा जी कौन है वो? मैम सोलो तुमचा सोलो प्लीज. तारा जी वेट. मॅडम इकडे समोर. मॅम इकडे समोर जेनेलिया मॅम समोर.
I have guests from Ritesh to Virat Kohli to John Abraham to lots of real mothers, parents who are not celebrities, but also, of course, our celebrity parents. I think everybody is a celebrity parent to their own child. So I'm excited by all this.
Okay, do you think the battle is won? Season 4, people are lacking at that, at that flavor, that they're appreciating it, appreciating the show, the way it is conducted.
I think Touchwood, it's slow and steady. I see my show is like another baby to me. I've been working on it for 6 years and I'll keep working on it. I called it the Tara Sharma show because I always thought maybe when I'm 70, I'll say Tara Sharma show diaries of a grandmother. So I think I'll keep doing it. I love doing it. I love chatting to people. I love hearing people. I like moderating discussions. So it's nice for me that a brand like Baby Dove approaches me to do what I love.
Okay, anything apart from baby show, if you love to be, though you're a producer, you're a content creator?
So my show keeps me very busy. As I said, I would still love to do any films if they come. But I've just signed on for some new brands, which is very exciting. So I'll just be seen now in 4 commercials on air, which I'm quite excited about. Because when you start creating your own show and when you're a mother and if you're a mompreneur, one of the big advantages is that you work on your own time. So just now, this event is planned. I'll reach home by the time my children reach home. Everything is planned like that. When you work on the film, you have to be ready to go for shoots for a long time. And also, I think everybody is different. Some people can do it easily. I'm slowly finding my way, and if I get a good offer, I would love it.
Thank you so much, Tara.
Thank you.